Why has the SRA not published any SQE past papers on their website? It's a question I get asked all the time. For the answer, stay tuned for the next episode on SQETV after the jingle.
If you wanna be solicitors, why don't you come and visit us at SQETV?
When you were preparing for your GCSEs, your A-levels and your degree, the relevant examination board published a large number of past papers, didn't they? And answering those official past papers in timed conditions was always useful to you as you prepared for those assessments, not least because it helped you practice your time management. And that would be particularly helpful if they were available for SQE1 with those 360 multiple choice questions. But it also helped you identify gaps in your knowledge. And it's only fair that examination boards do give candidates an idea of what their final assessment might look like in its entirety, especially when the exam fees in the case of the SQE will be £4,790 from October 24, and much more for around the 50% of candidates who will need at least one resit. It won't come as any surprise that once they're on the SQE pathway, most candidates' biggest concern is passing the first exam, the SQE1 assessment, mainly because of its well-known high fail rate. Yet, the SRA still hasn't published a single full SQE1 past paper 3 years into the new regime. And do you know how few SQE1 sample multiple choice questions they've shared to date? Remember, SQE1 is comprised of 360 MCQs. Well, the answer is that to date the SRA has shared a measly 130 MCQs, 90 of which they circulated well before the first SQE1 exam in 2021. So in the last 3 years, they've only released an additional 40 multiple choice questions. So just 130 sample questions in all. It's shocking, isn't it? Especially when there have been 6 SQE1 assessments to date. That means that there have been 2,160 questions that have been set to students, although I'm pretty sure a few have been recycled. But there must be at least 1,000, 1,500 plus unique questions in Kaplan's question bank. So who knows what an actual SQE1 assessment looks like? Well, the answer is nobody, unless you've signed an NDA, and then you can't talk about it. Something just is not right. And it's a pretty lousy service for someone to pay £4,790 for the privilege of sitting an assessment without the assessment board offering a single past or sample paper. And in my opinion, it's not the fair or decent thing to do either, is it? Particularly for those many candidates from socially mobile backgrounds who can't afford the best courses. And as a result, they won't have access to as many good sample questions as their more privileged peers, or maybe even a full sample paper. But if the SRA and Kaplan made more questions available, especially in the form of a past paper or more than one past paper, that will help to level the preparation gap that there is between candidates.
SQETV.
I had the privilege of interviewing Julie Swan, the SRA's Head of Education and Training, last year, and I asked her the question, why is it that the SRA and Kaplan have resisted repeated requests for full past and sample papers to be published? And this is what she said. There are always risks with past papers because different aspects of the content, as is the case with most exams, are sampled to varying amounts in each assessment. She goes on to say candidates will think, it's going to be like this, and then they're disappointed, surprised or shocked when they see something different come up because for the particular assessment they're taking, different content has been sampled. But I'm afraid I just don't buy this part of the answer. All candidates know that the paper they're going to sit is going to be different. It's going to have different questions, have a different emphasis on different topics than the sample questions and sample papers they see published by the examination boards. All the SRA needs to do is issue a health warning to that extent. So the excuse I was given simply isn't a reason not to publish past papers at all. What I think lies behind it, and the stubbornness of the SRA and Kaplan not to publish, is that they're trying to protect the integrity of Kaplan's MCQ bank. And I get that to a certain extent because having got the NDA, it does allow them to recycle good questions. But it doesn't stop Kaplan writing more questions and more papers to replace the ones that are put in the public domain. After all, it's not as if they don't have enough resources at the SRA and Kaplan to draft these questions, given the fact that the SQE revenue is predicted to double from £30 million to £66 million between 2024 and 2025.
SQETV.
So we at SQETV issue a plea to the SRA and Kaplan. Please do the decent thing. Be fair on your candidates that you're making a huge amount of money from, and publish not one, not two, but 3 past SQE1 papers or sample papers in the next 12 months. Publishing 3 papers will show how different content can be sampled between papers, thereby addressing the objection that the SRA has raised, and which I mentioned a few moments ago. Any failure to do less than this, and certainly doing nothing at all in the next 12 months, and I'm afraid the SRA and Kaplan will simply be reinforcing the view that those responsible for regulating and drafting your SQE assessments are prioritising profit and operational efficiency over fairness and the candidate experience. Thank you so much for listening, my friends. Let's see where we are in 12 months' time.
SQETV.
Thank you so much for watching this latest video. Please don't forget to like and subscribe and tap that notification bell so you become aware as soon as our latest videos drop. And as we always do, when we finish a video on SQETV, we say it's now time for the jingle.
If you wanna be solicitors, why don't you come and visit us at SQETV? This